So I've spent a few years trying to figure out how to turn all of my knowledge and skills into a reliable income. And I've done a whole lot of branding exercises. I've had business coaches. I've taken courses. I paid a scandalously large amount of money to other people to tell me what the heck I can do for a living to earn money. And I came across again today in a class that I was in on finding the fuel for your messaging. Of course, the confused mind says no. And I wrote down in my notes, I don't think I'm confused. I think I'm embarrassed. And that's a recurring theme in my life. As I mentioned, I've done all of these things, but they don't seem to fall together into a coherent whole. And I'm afraid that if I give other people advice, it's going to be bad advice. I'm like, okay, so what's going really well in my life? I have a very happy relationship. I have a good relationship with my children. I have friends and family that I am well connected with. I eat really well. I get a decent amount of exercise. I'm not super fit, but I also can walk long distances in the heat, and I'm going hiking and camping, and I'm still doing all those things. I can sit on the floor. I can get back up off of the floor. I am comfortable in my body. All of those things are really good. And I've had a number of different jobs. I currently am working as a freelance technical writer, and I just turned around a report in 24 hours on a migration, and I can write about data structures and I can write about meditation practices equally well. And it's hard to figure out what to do with all of that. And so what I'm embarrassed about is not that inability to make it into something coherent. I tripped over a meme this morning that was about when you're a teenager and people tell you that if you use big words, you must be stuck up and you're condescending and you're trying to make other people feel bad. So I come on here and I'm talking about things that I am capable of doing, and I know I'm capable of doing them because I do them and I have done them. But when I string them together, it sounds like arrogance and bragging. And I, for many, many years, wore a bracelet that had the words embraced and engraved on the inside, well-behaved women seldom make history. But I still wanted to make myself, somehow I wanted to do both things at once. I wanted to be palatable. I wanted to not make other people feel bad about themselves. I wanted to accomplish many things and also hold myself back at the same time. And so fundamentally, it's not that I'm confused, it's that I'm embarrassed. And the embarrassed message is always going to make people say no, because I find myself thinking, is this even good advice? Who's this advice useful for? And I took a class from Tara Sophia Moore in 2011 called Playing Big, and she talked about leaving behind your B+ life, and I find myself still writing about that for other people. I feel like apart from my work, my life is really pretty awesome. And I had to follow a whole lot of paths that are not terribly rational. And that was embarrassing for me, that I do a lot of my decision making by instinct, by intuition, and I can't justify the decisions to other people. So that's a little embarrassing. And then on the other side of that, other people who talk about intuition and manifestation and all of that sort of world have very certain perspectives on it, and I don't have certain perspective on it. I am tentative. I find myself going back over and over again to like believing in a soul. And when I believe in a soul and I say there are things my brain won't let me do, or my body or my soul or my higher self or my purpose or my what does Elizabeth Gilbert calls it, the genius, and I think it's sort of that daemon, that Greek sense of the self as having some goal, and I wind up with these sort of teleological perspectives that go, I am here to do something, and I'm uncomfortable with that conclusion. I'm uncomfortable with having to go to the soul and not having not being able to make a scientific, rational argument about it. So I teach about finding that sensation of that deep yearning. And from my perspective, it's like, I don't think I can just bring anything to bear in my life. I can't bring anything to pass in my life, but there are things that have just happened that felt magical and unfolded in front of me. And to admit that with the academic, educational background I have is embarrassing. And so I'm not confused, but I'm embarrassed. And as long as I remain so, I still keep pushing people away or pushing something away. And so in my advice to my younger self, again, if I were me, which I am, knowing what I know, which is that things go better when I follow the yearning of my soul, I would say to learn to lean into that more and I guess worry less what other people think about it. Oh, that's uncomfortable. That's uncomfortable. So here I'm going to lean into, as I have been doing for all these years, what am I here for? And why won't certain questions leave me alone? And why is my mind relentless in pursuing deeper truths when I've got perfectly good ones to work with? I don't have any answers, just questions today.